It's always bittersweet for me these days where I'm leaving camp, going to a new camp, getting back on the road, doing my errands, and then finding new camp, setting up camp. And I've talked about it before how I don't really want to leave. And this place is kind of the same way. There's a lot of good hiking around here. The weather's really good. There's no deer for Echo to get, chasing after. I haven't seen any like snakes, nothing, no weird insects. That's another good thing actually. There's no like flies or any bugs trying to get at us. Sometimes that happens. Like you get to a really cool place, but there'll be like mosquitoes or flies, or those little no-see-ums are the worst. Those things bite and they hurt. For days they hurt. So having things like that not be in a place where you're currently at, it's like you realize like, wow, this is like the perfect place to be. It's super quiet. I think I'm like 6 or 7 miles from the freeway. I can see it out there at the mountains. It's kind of at the base of the mountains out there is the freeway that we're going to get on today, and we're going to head that way to Vegas. So I can just kind of hear it a little bit in the distance. But other than that, man, it's really quiet. And if you look out here, there's people camped out here every once in a while. Like a guy in a van just left, and he'd been up here for about 3 days. But there's kind of nobody out here. And the reason is because the weather's getting cold. So it's getting colder, especially at night, and then on days where it's windy, it can be pretty cold out here. So it's not super comfortable. Even for like hiking, I'm like, it's too windy out to even go hiking. Like the breeze is just so cold. It's like frosty feeling. So people are heading to Quartzsite, people that are full-time nomads or most of the time they're traveling, they're heading to Quartzsite right now. And we're only a few hundred miles from Quartzsite. And this is kind of on the pass. So people stop here for a night or two, and then they're heading in that direction. Which is what we're doing. I'm used to the colder weather, so it doesn't bother me as much. As long as it's dry, I'm pretty comfortable. I do like to get outside and hike. So if there's some sort of weather system or bugs out that keep me from hiking, then that makes me kind of not want to be at a place for a longer period of time. But the motivation to leave is, for some people, like, man, they just want to move every day or every other day. They stay in a place for 2 nights and they're like sick of it. They want to head out. I got the dogs, like we like to hike around and explore, and I take my time and I go hiking this way, hiking that way, sit out in the sun, do some editing. I'm just really comfortable. I just try to be really comfortable, and being in one place for a few days or a week or 2, you start to really feel comfortable with the area, the people that are coming around, the weather systems and all that. You start to feel really comfortable and in tune with it. Then when I come back to this area, it all kicks in again. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this is over there and that's over here, and people go this way, and it's busy on these times of year, this time of the week. Whether there's like people out here hunting, shooting their guns, or obnoxious people, or loud people, or quiet people, or if it's dusty, or where the good campsites are, where the bad campsites are, that kind of thing. You start to feel really comfortable, and I really relish in that. I really appreciate that. I'm not saying that other people don't, but I feel like other people that just stay in a spot for a day or 2, there's something that they're missing. And I guess you could say, by the same logic, what I'm missing is I'm not seeing as many places, because if I'm here for 2 weeks, then someone else might have been, 5 or 6 other places in that same time period. But it's kind of all relative, because yeah, you were at 6 other places, but you were only there for, 24 hours or maybe 48 hours or something like that. And a lot of that time is spent, setting up camp, getting to know the area. And you might take 1 or 2 little hikes, but if I'm in one spot for 2 weeks, I've hiked that way, I've hiked this way, I've hiked up that way, I've hiked up on these roads. Like, I know more about the area. I've seen more of this area than you have, and all in a casual sort of feeling, right? I'm not like, oh, I got to get out of here, I got to get to the next place, or it's just more relaxed. Like, I'm living in this place. And I guess that's really what it is I'm living here for a week or two, as opposed to other people that just kind of come and they explore for a day or two and then they're gone and they go to another place. They're not really engaging completely with the environment. And I'm not saying you need to, or that one way is better or anything like that. I'm just noticing the difference, just comparing the two. I did that video the other day about contrast, and contrasting like city life and town life and being out in the middle of the desert. So that's kind of what I'm saying here, is like there's a difference if you stay in one spot and really live there. And I'm talking like 1 week or 2 weeks as living there. It's like people set up their sticks and bricks, they get a house, and they're there for years. They might be there for 20 years. So they're really living there. I'm still just here for a week or two or something like that. But what happens is the motivation to leave is almost always, like in this case, I'm out of propane. So I have to go get propane. I could just take the tanks and put them in the truck and go drive into town and fill up and come back. And I've done that before, but it does give you a reason to say, okay, yeah, my aim is quartzite, so I'm out of propane. Let's hit the road. I can get propane on the way. I got to stop at Costco, get gas, that kind of thing. Like, I can get my errands done, and then I'll be in quartzite shortly. So it gives you a motivation to leave when you run out of stuff, basically. Or, something breaks, or you need a part, or you got to go pick something up. The dogs need dog food, that kind of thing. Or I'm out of water. Or maybe like the generator needs fuel, that kind of thing. So there are reasons to leave. And so I appreciate that I do have those reasons that come up. They come up about every 2 weeks. I got to go back into town. Now, another thing is, and this gets back to quartzite, is if you're moving around from place to place, you're going to be spending gas money and wear and tear on your vehicle, that kind of thing. So if you spend a lot of your time driving, if you drive a couple 100 miles in a day, that's a few hours. Especially if you have dogs like I do, you got to stop on the way, so it takes longer. And plus, I drive pretty slow. I'm only going about 60 miles an hour. So you're using gas. It's an expense. And when you get to quartzite, you're just kind of there. Like, you're not really driving around that much. You set up camp, and you can move from camp to camp, but you might only move, a few miles from one camp to another campsite if you want to move around. If you're staying in quartzite, you're only going to drive a few miles, in a month. Yeah, if you got to go into town, like if you want to drive up to Parker, which I do, to go to Walmart, that's 40-something miles there and back. So it's 80 miles round trip. And so then you're using gas again, but now you're not towing the trailer. You're just, for me at least, I'm just driving the truck. So the gas on that is pretty minimal. So you end up saving money in a sense, and I like that, the idea of like, I'm not just blowing gas money. I'm staying in one place, enjoying myself till I'm sick of it, then I can move. And I'm saving the gas money, and that kind of goes towards the pass that you have to pay to stay there. It's just different ways of traveling. I can't imagine, like, when I first started this lifestyle, I was staying in state parks, and you had to pay like, 25 to 35 or 40 bucks a night. And even then I would stay there several nights, sometimes even longer. And then during the winter months, you were allowed to stay up to 3 weeks. And I did that a few times. And that's expensive, but I just like the idea of being in the environment that I'm in. And I feel like if I move around, boom, 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 I'm not really living, I'm not really experiencing what these places have to offer. And I'm not trying to sound like some nature boy or whatever, which I do consider myself a nature boy, but there's people that are even more into like living off the land and like, you know, harvesting the plants and the animals that are out here to survive, and, you know, building shelters and things like that. I'm not really doing that, but I can feel I can feel the air. I can feel the sun. I can feel the wind, and I can feel the weather that comes through. I can feel the nights and the days, and the stars at night are just crazy. And I really enjoy that. And sometimes, I mean, even me, like, I don't appreciate it as much as I should because I'm used to this lifestyle now. But when I do notice it, I notice it. I really notice it. And if you're moving around day after day, and I think a lot of the people that do that have vans, so they're kind of not, they're living out of their van, right? They sleep in their van, they cook inside their van, but when they want to hang out, they're not sitting in their van all day. Like, I can sit, if it's raining or if it's windy outside, I can sit in the trailer all day and be comfortable, because it's like, you know, I have a small trailer. It's not like there's separate rooms in there, but there are kind of separate areas. You know, there's a couch, there's a dining area, of course, the kitchen, and then there's a bed. So you can hang out kind of in those little different areas. If you're in a van, you're just like, I'm in the van. So you have, I guess that's kind of your motivation to keep moving, is like, well, I sat outside here all day today. And it's raining today, so I got to go because I don't want to be stuck in the van. It's just different ways of living. Anyways, I'm supposed to eat my breakfast. All right, I'll check in with you guys later. Thanks for hitting that like button. Let us know you're watching. We like to know you're watching. We really do. And you know, comment down below. Let us know your ideas about our lifestyle. And a lot of you have the same lifestyle. It's pretty amazing. I mean, I do the same thing. Like, I watch other nomad channels too, even though I am a nomad. This is how I live day in and day out, and I spend time on YouTube watching other people do the same thing, because I get ideas and motivation from them, and I guess that's what a lot of you are doing too. And those of you that aren't nomads yet, you know, you don't have to be a nomad to live this lifestyle. You can, well, I guess to live the lifestyle you do. But, you know, you can just get out for a day or two, go camping, load up your car with some gear, go to a state park, pay $30, and you'll probably love it. Now, thanks for subscribing, and hit that bell down below, because if you hit the notification bell, you get notified. I think a lot of people don't realize that. Like, we put out videos 2 or 3 a week usually, and it'll notify you as soon as our video comes out, so you can watch the latest video so you don't miss any of our awesome adventures.